All right, let's talk about something we all hear about constantly, the cloud. I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's on our phones, it runs our jobs, it powers so much of our lives. But what is it really? Let's demystify this thing.
So, you know when you save a photo or document, you hit that little Save to the Cloud button? But where does it actually go? I mean, it's not literally floating up in the sky with the cumulus clouds, right? It's a really simple question, but the answer kind of gets to the heart of this massive shift in technology.
Okay, so here's the big reveal. The cloud isn't some magical, invisible place. It's actually a gigantic, worldwide network of computers. We're talking about huge buildings called data centers, packed with servers. So cloud computing is really just about getting all your computer stuff, software, hardware, storage, delivered to you over the internet. Instead of having it all crammed onto your own machine, you're accessing it from somewhere else.
We'll peek behind the curtain to see how it works. After that, we'll get into the big advantages. And finally, we'll talk about some of the risks that you might not have thought about.
All right, let's jump right into part one. It's time to move beyond the buzzword and figure out what actually is the cloud. Okay, to put it super simply, think of it like this. You're basically using software and hardware that belongs to someone else. You're renting a slice of their super powerful computer, which is sitting in some remote data center. It's a total game changer, moving away from owning everything to just accessing it when you need it.
Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine room of your digital life.
So who's providing these services? Well, you already know the big players. I mean, if you use Gmail or Google Docs, yep, that's Google's cloud. If you're on Microsoft Office, that's their cloud. And then you've got giants like Salesforce who built these massive businesses by providing all sorts of applications straight from, you guessed it, the cloud.
Every cloud system has two main parts, which is kind of cool. There's the front end. That's the part you see. It's your web browser or the app on your phone. Then there's the back end. That's the stuff you don't see. All those servers and storage systems in the data centers doing the heavy lifting. And the internet? Well, that's the bridge that connects the two.
So, what makes something a true cloud system? Well, there are basically four key ingredients. First, the resources are pooled, meaning they're all shared from one big pot. Second, it's dynamic. You can crank up the power when you need it and turn it down when you don't. Third, it's measured. You literally only pay for what you use, kind of like a utility bill. And finally, it's self-service. You can get what you need and manage it yourself, no need to call up the IT guy.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Why is everyone moving to the cloud? Let's talk about the major advantages.
Oh, the benefits are huge. For starters, it's cheaper. You pay for what you use instead of buying tons of expensive hardware up front. It also makes teams way more productive because they're not stuck fixing servers all day. The scalability is insane. You can handle a massive surge in users instantly. It's also super reliable, since your data is usually backed up in multiple places. And maybe the best part? You can get to your stuff from literally anywhere.
Yeah, and this quote really hits the nail on the head. Using the cloud lets your team focus on actually doing their jobs and creating value, instead of just being glorified IT janitors, maintaining all the hardware and software. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We gotta talk about the other side of the coin. So for our last section, let's dive into the hidden risks. Look, when you go to the cloud, you're putting a ton of trust in someone else. What if your data gets mishandled? Or worse, what if that company you trust suddenly has huge problems or even goes bankrupt? You gotta think about things like data recovery and confidentiality, because suddenly it's not in your hands anymore, it's in theirs.
So that's the real takeaway here. It's a trade-off. On one hand, the cloud gives you all this amazing power and flexibility. But on the other hand, you're giving up control. You're basically handing the keys to your digital kingdom to a third party and just trusting them to do the right thing.
And that leaves us with one last big, kind of heavy question. As more and more of our lives, our photos, our work, our private messages, our actual memories end up on someone else's servers, who's really responsible for it all? Is it you or is it the company you're paying? It's something to think about for sure, because the cloud is only getting bigger.